Today's guest is the wonderful Dan Sheehan. Who is Dan Sheehan, Steve?
So Dan has started an incredible company called Nama. They make what we believe to be the world's best juicer.
Why juice, Dave? Okay, juicing is one of the quickest ways that you would build up your immune system. In today's age, where 50 to 60% of us in industrial, high-income countries are eating processed foods, 50% of our calories come from ultra-processed foods. Juicing is the antithesis by drinking freshly squeezed veg juices with a little bit of fruit to make them sweet. You are literally increasing your health and vitality in so many different ways. So I think juicing is so important. It's such an elixir. And Nama juicers make these amazing slow cold pressed juicers that are easy to use.
And that we adore. And we adore them so much that we've become partners with them or ambassadors with them. And we think they're wonderful.
And today we're chatting to Dan Sheehan. He's a serial entrepreneur who at the age, I'll give you just the quick highlights here because I don't want to ruin it for you. But he was a serial entrepreneur and had a coming to Jesus moment where he ended up realizing that he was on death's door and he was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic and had a real kind of health scare and realized that he wanted to put his business acumen to making the world a better place, and hence the birth of Nama Juicers. The whole mission is exactly aligned with the Happy Pair. It's about supporting people to eat more plants, eat more veg, make it easier for people to make healthier choices, and their juices are amazing. So today we're having a wonderful conversation with Dan Sheehan. First place I'd love to jump off, Captain Juice, is tell me why we should juice. Like, tell us why. Anyone listening here is going, juicing, like, is juicing, like, are we talking about juicing apples? Are we talking about juicing oranges? Like, why should we juice, Dan? How has juicing saved your life?
Juicing has saved my life because when we drink a bottle of juice, a glass of juice, whatever it happens to be, even a shot of juice, we're supercharging our body with micronutrients that we could not get otherwise. I mean, if I think about what I would have to eat in order to consume this liquid and these vitamins and minerals and micronutrients, it's a huge bowl of salad. So who has time for that? Some people do, but a lot of people don't have time for that. And when you're healing or when you're trying to overcome and allow your body to really become at its best, drinking juice like this that's loaded. I mean, this juice has ginger, turmeric, cucumber, apple, lemon, and parsley. When you drink a juice like this, there are so many benefits that, so number one, hydration, right? So my body is able to absorb the liquid that's stored within those plants, and in a way that is, I believe, much better than just drinking a glass of water. Drinking water is great, but drinking juice that's full of micronutrients is just so great for your body. And then obviously all of the liquid gold that's stored within these plants that I'm now able to bring into my body. I mean, people say how great they feel after a glass of or a cup of espresso or coffee or whatever, that they get energized. But to me, there's nothing more energizing than drinking a glass of juice like this.
There's almost like an electrical frequency as well, isn't there? Like, we're electrical creatures. We have electricity is what kind of conducts the flow of energy within our bodies. And when you are juicing, particularly in the type of juice which Nama makes, which is high quality, cold pressed, nutrient rich juice, like, it's got an electrical charge to it, which, it enhances the electrical frequency within your body. Am I told to drivel there, or what do you?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, what I say to folks is, who are sometimes hesitant to even try, because the juice that people are used to is the juice that you buy in a grocery store or supermarket.
Yeah, so like, right? An orange juice. Most people are used to like a Tropicana orange juice, or freshly squeezed. Does it have bits or does it not? So when you say juicing, you're not talking about that type of thing.
No, because that juice has been pasteurized. And what pasteurizing means is that it's actually brought to high temperature and it's cooked. So anything that's alive or electrical in that liquid has been killed. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I would much rather have someone drink boxed juice than drink Coca-Cola or plenty of other really bad things that have lots of added ingredients and things that we can't even pronounce because they're so the spelling is so complicated. But if you have an opportunity to drink a real juice from a restaurant or a cafe like yours, the Happy Pear, or any number of places around the world, or even at home using one of our juicers, the feeling that you get from that is a feeling that you can't explain unless you actually drink it. And once you have that feeling, you never want to go back, for sure.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And okay, for anyone listening there going, okay, well, vegetable juice, like, I don't really like veg. Like, fruit sounds great. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be delicious. But talk to us about the difference between juicing fruits and juicing vegetables, because there is, in our experience, there is quite a difference. Like, like you as a type 1 diabetic, what is the reality? How do our bodies respond to fruit versus vegetables, or mostly vegetable juices?
So if I drink a pure fruit juice, let's say I were to put oranges in my juicer, process a big mason jar like this of orange juice, my blood sugar would spike like crazy because there is no or very little bit of insoluble fiber in the juice, because our juicer removes that. So you're drinking all of the liquid that gets squeezed from that fruit. So there is a big sugar spike that occurs, and because I wear a continuous glucose monitor, I can see that. For me, and I always recommend for most people the 80-20 rule. So 80% veg, herbs, 20% fruit. That 20% fruit will give you that sweetness that most people like and embrace, right? We crave sweet as humans. But it's not going to give you that spike that you would have if it was 100% juice. So again, we strongly encourage 80-20. So what does that look like in a juice? So for me, in this glass, I had 1 large organic cucumber. I had 2 thumbs of ginger. I had 1 thumb of turmeric. I had a handful of parsley. I had 1 lemon. Lemons are technically a fruit, but they're also quite low in sugar. And I did put in 1 apple. So
Beautiful.
Roughly, again, I'm using the 80-20. Lots of times I'll make juice without apple or without any fruit, and I quite enjoy it. But this morning I went for the apple.
Amazing. Yeah, it really sounds delicious. And I know, like, for anyone, like in our experience, like we started a juice bar 15, maybe 16 years ago. So maybe it was 18 years ago. It was quite a while ago anyway. And at that stage, it was all centrifugal juicers. Like that was, the masticating juicers were ones that were really, it was old Champion juicers. It was Green Star juicers. They were those dual cog.
Double auger.
Double auger, where you had to cut everything really fine and push it through the top. And it was a serious commitment. Like the type of people who used to use them were typically people who were only sick, because otherwise people just couldn't sustain it because it was such a challenge.
Can you just, for anyone, just map out the difference between centrifugal and masticating? Because it's something that, it starts with juicing, but I think it really gets into defining, the undergraduate and the postgraduate.
Sure. So my first introduction to juicing was the high-speed masticating juice. And really the way to think about it is it's like a blender. People are familiar with blenders.
Yeah.
So it's spinning at very high speed.
That's a centrifugal. That's a centrifugal one, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. You have that correct. I use mastic. See, even I'm confused. All of these technical words. Centrifugal, using centrifugal force. Basically, it's shredding the fruits and vegetables, and it's sending them sideways, usually through some mesh screen to separate the liquid from the pulp. But it's doing it, and it's literally ripping the fruits and veg and all the cells that are involved inside the fruit and veg at between 12,000 and 15,000 revolutions per minute.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a very hostile environment, let's put it that way. So, but it's efficient, it's fast. When you have a juice bar, you're trying to serve a lot of people, you're trying to make a lot of juice. It's a very efficient way of making juice, and not a bad way to make juice. Lots of folks have centrifugal juicers, and awesome, good on you. I'm glad that you're juicing. But what we wanted to do with our products and with the way that we've chosen to go to market is with a product that slowly squeezes the liquid out of the fruits and veg. And it uses a masticating or slow auger or slow speed or cold pressed approach. So that our machine is spinning at about 50 RPMs. So 300 times slower than a centrifugal juicer.
Wow.
So not as efficient from a time perspective if you're making large quantities of juice, but from a quality perspective, there's no comparison. And because we're at 50 RPMs, we're mimicking the way that our mouths chew food. If you think about when you're ingesting food, you're chewing at about that same rate. Very similar to the way the auger goes around.
Very
It's interesting.
good.
That's clever.
So you're very slowly squeezing all of the really vital nutrients and liquid out of the fruit and veg. You're not ripping it apart. You're not shredding it. You're not oxidizing it as you're doing this juicing process.
And oxidizing means where you're losing a lot of the vitamins and minerals to the air.
Correct, because imagine you're basically shredding the fruits and veg. And in doing so, you're exposing all of those little bits, those little fragments that have been ripped apart. You're exposing those to air in the process, like while you're making the juice. And so oxidation is like what happens when you bite into an apple and you leave it on the counter. It starts to turn brown. So that is a natural process that occurs with food and with food degradation. So over a period of time, more oxidation can lead to less nutritional benefit of the juice over a period of time. So again, cold press, masticating, squeezing the way that we do it in all of the Nama juicers is a great way of preserving as much of that vital life force, that electrical energy that you spoke about in the fruits and veg in your juice. So you're bottling lightning, so to speak. I mean, it's
bottle lightning. I love that.
That's a nice
bottle
name,
lightning.
As we mentioned, we've become ambassadors for Nama Juicers because we think so highly of them. If you use the code HAPPY PEAR 10, you'll get 10% off your first juicer. The J3 is the smaller, more travel one. We took that recently to Greece and had fun trying to see if we could make some sage juice and make it taste good. It kind of tasted like holy juice.
So if you're inspired by today's conversation and want to invest in a Nama juicer that is 15 years warranty, you can get 10% off with the code HAPPYPEAR10. They have two main varieties, the J2, which is a bigger family one, which I use myself, and the J3, which is for more smaller apartments and for travel. We recently went to Greece and we bought the J3 with us because it's travel, it's easy to bring on holidays. So HAPPYPEAR10 for 10% off if you want to invest in a Nama juicer for your own health.
We're all about nature, health, and living a natural way of life. Back about 8 years ago, a friend, Tony Riddle, suggested I have a pair of shoes, lads, that are going to transform your life. And it's like, go away, Tony.
They were a pair of Vivo barefoot shoes. They really were. They're amazing. They're minimalist, they're eco-friendly, and they're designed to let your feet move as freely as they would barefoot. It's about getting closer to nature with every step you take. They really are amazing shoes. They come in ranges for men's, women, for all aspects. Kids.
They're a B Corp company, which means they're certified as being people working in a sustainable manner. Amazing people. We've hung out with them loads, and they really are at the forefront of health.
We believe in them so much that we've become ambassadors. It's all we've worn for the last 8 years, for running, for streetwear, for You know, they're
Even tuxedos I wear. When I wear a tuxedo, I got a nice kind of formal pair. So they do offer a full range. Use the code HAPPYPEAR20 to get 20% off your next pair.
And even as soon as I've got a baby girl, Fia, she's 8 months old. And as soon as she starts walking, I will definitely make sure she starts with a pair of Vivo barefoot shoes, because they have a wide toe box, a minimal sole, and they'll really help connect her with nature and her natural movement.
Research has shown that if you do wear a pair of Vivo barefoot shoes within a number of months, your foot strength will increase by 60%.
So yeah, so check them out, 20% off with the code HAPPYPEAR20 at checkout, vivobarefoot.com. Okay, so in today's society where 50 to 60% of most people's calories are coming from ultra processed foods, where we're eating a lot of food from factories rather than food from farms, like, talk to us about the importance of juicing and why it can absolutely transform people's health.
So I think the motto of Nama, kind of our mission, the why we exist, is very similar to why Happy Pair exists. We want individuals to take control, and we want individuals, our community, the broader world, to eat more plants. We all know that the power of plants. It is these fruits and vegetables and herbs are so beneficial to us as humans. And yet we choose to eat things that come from a bag or from a box, and that are highly, highly processed. But if we can just we don't have to go 100% to the plant side. But what we like to say to our community is, eat one more plant-based meal a day. Have one salad. Have one serving of vegetables more than you did yesterday. Have one juice today that you didn't have yesterday. Little steps every day, working towards a brighter future. And once you start, as we talked about earlier, once you have real juice, once you have real food, you start to crave it. You really start to change your brain so that you really crave those things instead of craving the Cheetos or the Doritos or the things that are in these packages that, again, are also made to be super addictive. And hopefully you can, by slowly adding a little bit more plant-based food into your world, you can start to shift your brain energy around craving fruits and veg, because you just feel so much better.
Yeah. I like when I think back to when we first got into juicing, and Mom used to make it when we were kids growing up. She used to use a Breville juicer, and she juiced mostly fruit before school. I remember it was kiwis and apples and oranges and pears. It was very tasty, but as you're saying, it was pretty much liquid sugar. But it was back about, it was maybe 15 years ago, we started getting very into health and into Hippocrates. Do you remember Hippocrates Health Institute? And yes. I went there because I thought, well, we got super into wheatgrass. Our brother was doing triathlons for Ireland, and he was growing a lot of wheatgrass, and we were juicing it, and I got curious about it, and I was like, well, let's go to this place, Hippocrates, and see if maybe we'll start something like that here in Ireland and really transform people's health. And on that journey, we realized the importance how juicing can massively improve your immune system. That in this place, Hippocrates, they were taking people they were really at the end of the medical system, where they were, a lot of them had diseases that the medical system couldn't sort, and they were there to really see if they can, instead of using drugs to kill off the disease, they were going, how can we build up the immune system in the most effective way? And it was all based, juicing was the cornerstone of it, and it was particularly green juice and wheatgrass and these type of things. So I think juicing has such a capacity to kickstart the human biology and to really restart it in a different avenue than it might have from eating processed foods in the current culture which we live in.
I couldn't agree more. And I think you're giving your body a break. You're giving your digestive system, because all of the talk now and all of the science is saying that your immune system resides within your gut. So gut health is so critical to your overall health, which is old science, but basically coming back, right? It's so interesting how this all works. But I think juicing has been so popularized by folks who are overcoming health issues because of the fact that it can allow our bodies to heal. And by drinking juice and giving our gut a break, because basically it's a liquid diet, so to speak. So a lot of folks who do these juicing feasts as part of their healing journey, it's supercharging their body with all of this hydration and energy and micronutrients and healing benefits of plants, and then stopping some of these other highly processed foods just really gives your body an opportunity to heal. And that's been the journey that I've been on. Obviously, when you're traveling across time zones and running here and there and everywhere like a crazy person, you just grab whatever you can grab. And airports aren't the most healthy places to get food.
Yeah.
Really are.
I'd love to take this opportunity now to kind of go into, you talked about at the very start, you said about that up until you were very type A up until you were about 50, and you were go. And then an event happened which led you on this path to NAMA, and having your mission to be about supporting people to eat more plant-based and enabling them via your incredible juicers. I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about that journey, because I think your backstory is
you grew up in California and then went and studied in Guelph, where our cousin Cian went and studied up in Ontario. So yeah.
Yeah, I was always a driven person, just wanting something, wanting more. I think a lot of us have this desire to have more and to create more and build more and do more.
Do you think you're born with that, or do you think that's nurture or nature? What's your thoughts on that?
We often have this debate. I think it's a little bit of both, but for me, I was an only child. I didn't have brothers and sisters around me, and I was living in a very small town, and I looked at, what was going on around me, and I was like, I want something different from this. And so that's where I embarked on my life journey. And had I stayed there, I'm sure I would have created a great life, and who knows what it would have looked like, but we don't have that ability to go back and relive. So this is the life that I have, and I'm trying the darndest to make the best of it. But I think I was very driven. Just I don't know how else to describe it other than just really wanting to do things and really enjoying that. So,
and was it a success orientation, as in, the way there's an intrinsic drive to kind of prove yourself, or was it almost like an extrinsic that you're almost like, I talk about me and Steve as identical twins. We've always been competing for our parents' love and attention. So we are hyper competitive since we came out of the womb. So we've always been trying to prove ourselves, even as adults, to get our parents' attention. And it's just been a habit. And I'm just questioning within you, this is very reflective now. Do you feel like at a deep level were you kind of driven to kind of prove as an only child to your parents that I am enough? Or were you proving to society, or was it just this deep intrinsic need to express yourself?
Well, I guess I need to get a chair, one of those cozy chairs like you guys have. This feels like more like a therapy.
Sorry, no, I love getting into the weeds, getting into the detail of things.
Definitely, there's a parental pleasing element to it, for sure. I'm the product of a broken marriage. My father, American, Irish, Catholic, oldest of eight. Crazy family story. My mom and him got together when they were basically graduating from high school. I'm the product of that relationship, and my parents weren't even 20 when I was born, so their marriage didn't last very long, and so it was a challenging upbringing. But obviously the past is the past. But there was definitely a lot of that, for sure, early on. But then it again, family life. There was a lot of addiction and alcohol abuse in both households. But so I chose not to go that path of addiction, but my addiction was go, go, go. My addiction was type A. My addiction was business and running marathons and doing triathlon and flying here and there and everywhere and burning the candle at both ends. And ultimately that's what I'm sure that's what led to my type 1 diabetes. So
wow. So it's like it's a much more socially acceptable addiction, isn't it? That kind of like absolute drive and slight workaholism, like it's much more socially acceptable than substance abuse.
But it is its own form of substance abuse, right?
I completely agree. Yeah.
So, and I catch myself. It's hilarious. Like Leslie and I, and my partner, my life partner and work partner, she and I spent the last 3 days in the garden getting a bunch of stuff in the ground, and I mean, the way that we work in the garden is we just laugh. We're like, if there was a drone watching us, kind of the way that we work and what we can get done in 3 days in the garden is like, people would love to hire us. Let's put it that way, the way that we work. But so you can't take that out of you. But I think it's hopefully as you get older, you learn ways to strategically harness that and to create some balance. So.
And it's kind of how
even though we were working like crazy, we were still in the garden and getting all of the great benefits of being outside and physical labor and getting our fingernails dirty and all that good stuff.
I think it's how to temper it. I think that's the thing because me and Dave have lots of similar traits.
You're looking in the mirror in terms of just drive and go and go
and load it on there. These shoulders can carry it, no problem.
And every kind of like for the last, like we used to when we were in our 20s, we used to every New Year's, that period between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve, you write your list of goals.
I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this.
For our 20s, we used to have this, I'm going to conquer the world, like these type of lists. And then when it moved into our 30s, I'd say every year on year, it was like, I just want to slow down. I want to be able to slow down, which for a type A person that's extremely driven is really hard to learn these mechanisms to go a bit easier and be softer.
And how have you found, like, what are some strategies that you've used in order to slow down? Because I really struggle with it. I mean, even something as silly as like reading a book, I listen to podcasts or I listen to audiobooks because I want to be doing it while I'm on the go. But it's like taking a moment to actually open up a book and read is so enjoyable, but it's so rare.
Yeah.
No, I can relate.
I have baths. Baths take that sting out of me. So in the evening, I love having a good hour and a half soak in the bath. Not every night, but like certainly a couple of nights a week with lots of salt. And then I love writing. I love that self-reflective expression, which is writing. And that certainly helps temper that creative energy in a less, doing it for, like I'm doing it for the sake of the enjoyment of doing it rather than some external gratification.
So those are great.
I find children knock some of the edges off me anyway. The way that your
children or your children?
My children knock lots of the edges off me, particularly my two wonderful sons, and it kind of forces me to be more present and just accept the chaos. Like you've 6 kids, and I can't imagine what that's like. How old are your kids now, Dan?
6 kids and a grandson. So my youngest is 15. He'll be 16 this summer.
Wow.
He's in the 10th grade, and then I have a daughter who's in the 12th grade. She's graduating this year. Both of them are playing rugby this week. They're both in the provincial championships, both of their teams.
Jeez,
so after this podcast, I'm heading over to the mainland.
That's hilarious because we played rugby for Calgary. We played rugby for the Calgary Canadian Irish Athletic Club when we were there over 25 years ago. We spent a summer playing for the Calgary Canadian Irish Athletic Club with Julian. What was his name? He was the captain of the Canadian rugby team, and he was the captain at the time. Yeah, Julian.
That's amazing. And what positions did you play?
We were 7 and 6, so we were wing forwards.
The flankers.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
The workhorses.
There you go.
I have a daughter studying nutrition at the University of British Columbia. I have another daughter that just graduated with her master's in public health in Vancouver. And then my oldest daughter also lives in Vancouver. So I have 3 daughters in Vancouver, and she's 34, and she has blessed us with our first grandchild, who's now, he'll be 3 this summer. So that completely different perspective of having a grandchild. So
Wow.
so fun. And then my oldest son works in Nama, and he does all of our video content. He's incredibly talented.
It's beautiful, clean content. I've watched a lot of your videos, and it's like, ooh, that's very crispy and beautiful and very aesthetic and pleasing.
It sounds like the public health daughter and the nutrition daughter are primed to come into the mission to help people to eat more veg. Like, it really does. Like, it sounds like those two are like, the next generation is coming. Here comes the wave. The cavalry are coming.
How can we talk about your farming? So how did you get into wanting to have a farm and to raise your family on a farm on a little isolated island? And like, where did that come from, and how are you getting on with that? Because many people listen and go, I'd love to move out to the land and I'd love to grow my own food, and that's going to make me happy.
Because even at a macro perspective, like, you had, like, just to fill in some gaps that people listening might not know, like, for your first 50 years, you were flying around the world, 2 different cities in every week, and you were go conquering, building businesses and being very successful in very different ways. Oh. And then you decided to become a farmer and devote your energy to helping people to eat more veg via Nama and making juicers.
What you're being kind when you say farmer. I wouldn't consider myself. Okay, let's put the word hobby in front of farmer. But we try. We really do try. My mother-in-law was incredibly inspiring to me in the last 20 years of my life. And she has a rural property about 20 kilometers from here, from where we are. And on that 1 acre piece of land, what she does and what she's done and what she's created over the last 40 years is incredibly inspiring. I mean, you could do a coffee table book about her property. What she grows and what she's been able to achieve with that land is incredible. And so whenever we would visit her, whenever we would fly out from LA with the kids and we would go to her home and her property, we would come back feeling so alive just from being part of her land and being around her fruits and veg and her trees and her flowers and all of it. So that was a real introduction for me of the power of place and just feeling so grounded in this at that time we were living in Palos Verdes in Los Angeles. One way we were looking at the big port of Long Beach, which is the largest port of the US, so we could see the port. There was this huge oil refinery, kind of this part of the view. And then if we turned this way, we saw all of LA, downtown, and then as far as the eye could see, houses and lights and pollution. We were living right in that pollution layer. And we had our youngest, Parker, who his doctor said shortly after he was born, because he had this respiratory issue, and he said, he's got the LA cough. What's that? I said, what is the LA cough? Oh, it's just what happens to people who live here. He said, I'm like, what can we do about it? He's like, you could move.
Wow.
He said, if you have the means, if you have the opportunity, maybe you should think about leaving. What? Really? This was really an interesting thing for a pediatrician to say. He's very progressive, mind you. But we're like, you know what? It's not a bad idea. And, we had been traveling up to see family, but we thought, you know what? Let's try this. This could be really interesting. And, obviously with internet and the ability to be a little bit of a nomad from a business perspective, we thought, well, let's give this a try. And so I think Parker was 3, Sienna was 2005 when we decided to move up to Victoria.
And you have 6 kids, just to be clear to everyone here. That's not so.
Well, they weren't all living. They weren't all living with us at that time.
Yeah, there was
But so two moved, and then one more moved, and then one more moved. So, and then another one was going to school here. So anyway, it all came together, and they were all at different stages of life. But the whole notion of just feeling in LA, the energy, and I'm sure from traveling to big cities or living in different cities big cities, when you live there, you're that energy grid that we talked about. You're like so energized just from all the lights and just all the people and everything. You're constantly buzzing. But when you take a moment and you come to a place like Vancouver Island, where it's very sleepy, probably a lot like Greystones or Wicklow. I mean, you just detach and you just start to breathe again, and you just start to feel like you're part of something much bigger than you. And I think that's what I love about this. And so we still travel, we still like to go to different places and get that buzz that you get when you go to a big city, but just for a few days, and then we can't wait to get back here. And so in developing our property, we seized at an opportunity to buy this piece of land. We're actually surrounded by the city. But it's the government, I think about 40 or 50 years ago, they set aside a bunch of protected land. It was an agricultural land reserve that the local government of British Columbia put in place to preserve this really important farmland. And so our property has a covenant on it. It doesn't allow it to be developed for a subdivision or for carving up and putting homes on. It's meant to be restrictively used for agriculture.
Wow.
And so, we bought the land in 2018, and then it had been a hay field. So the people that owned it before had used it just for hay. So we kind of had a blank canvas to work with, which was great. There's a creek that runs through it, and there's a stand of ancient aspens. We've had a botanist out here to say that this aspen grove is about 2,000 years old.
Oh, so cool. There's some wise trees there.
The very wise trees, and the root runs horizontal.
Wow.
And so that's the mother tree, is under the ground running horizontally. And then all of the saplings shoot up from this mother root. It's really special, and I'm looking at it right out there. It's something that I cherish. I love those trees. And we started planting. Again, we had a blank canvas. I think we've planted over 1,000 trees and shrubs since that time, and we're continually planting. And we took, of the 18 acres, we took 2 acres and we put extra fencing around it, and that's our orchard. So we have over 100 fruit trees in there, berries, another 100 or so berry bushes. We have a market garden, and we have a huge flower garden because Leslie's very much a flower person. So
cool. Wow. And how's the dream of self-sufficiency and the back to the land going? Like, what are the hardships? Because what I've heard there is that just sounds dreamy. Yes, please, Dan, you the man. What are some of the hardships? Just because, like, there's night and day. The nature of life is, everyone's looking out to success and going, oh, if I'm rich and famous, I'll be happy. But the reality is you get sick, you have anxiety. The reality is life is two sides. What are some of the challenges? Sorry.
The challenges are sun plus rain equals weeds.
There you go. Right? We know that one well.
So And because we choose to be incredibly organic permaculture approach, we don't use any types of any chemical or spray. They're not allowed here. So it's weeding. That's what we were doing this weekend. We were weeding like crazy. And, I think we all, we put out the 911 yesterday to some folks that we work with to say, we really need help with weeding. So, yeah, it's been crazy because we've been fortunate to have some rain this time of year, which we don't often, and it's just led to an explosion of weeds. But I mean, I think everywhere I look, I think, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. Oh,
type A. Yeah. I know that feeling. The list is always growing. I know it firsthand.
So it's like, no. Oh, so catching yourself in that moment and being like, no, it's fine. Let's just do the best we can do. And that's okay. And if the weeds get the best of it, like we have this beautiful asparagus patch. And this time of year, the asparagus is coming. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable, but there's so many weeds in it. But it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, we work around it and do our best. Thankfully, there's a farmer's market about a kilometer and a half down the road. So we heavily supplement. By no means are we self-sufficient, not even close. But we're moving in that direction slowly but surely, but I don't think we'll ever be self-sufficient. I think we are really focused on fruit. So we have a lot of heirloom variety apples, pears, plums, berries. And so we obviously have a huge feast that starts in about late June, early July with the plums, and then runs through, I think, the persimmons. We have a persimmon tree. I think the persimmons will get us to December, but
wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
That's nice.
We're total fruit bats.
Yeah, we're fruit bats. But it's funny that you were saying about the weeds, because it was back on Saturday we're up doing weeding on the farm. Like, we've got a 4-acre regenerative farm. And so there's no chemicals. It's all, it's all by the land. But we were up there on Saturday, like working and doing weeding. And I said to Steve, I said, geez, do you know, like, we do workouts most mornings, like we do yoga or running or
press-ups.
This morning we did press ups. And I said to Steve, we should stop doing workouts in the morning and just come up here and weed. Because like weeding is like such a good workout. Down there squatting, weeding, filling wheelbarrows, dumping in the compost. And it's like, okay, well, tomorrow morning let's run up to the farm and let's just do an hour's weeding instead of a workout.
It is such a workout. I wish I could say I only did an hour. I think this weekend it was probably 20 hours combined. I mean, I'm so exhausted from it, but feeling so great about it too, because we did accomplish a lot. And I tell you, my hands, I think from grabbing at the weeds, my hands are just, I have office hands. So it's good to get it started.
Yeah,
it's the grip strength.
Oh, totally.
So,
well, one place I'd love to go, Dan, to segue into is like, how do you go to set up an appliance company? So you've this dream, you love juicing, you've been diagnosed type 1, you realize by drinking more, 80% veg, 20% fruit, more juices, you're going to put your body in a much better position of health. How do you go from there to starting an incredible juice company and literally starting the best juicer we've ever come across?
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I had spent my career in consumer products. So
what does that mean? Because people listening go, consumer products.
That's a nice word, but what does it mean?
So way back when I was in university, I started my first company, and I had this idea of selling this product that I had seen in California, but hadn't seen in Canada yet, that went in the front windshield of your car to keep it cool. So living in a northern climate, as you do, as I do, we're not so concerned with sun damage for our cars, but I thought, you know what, I could try this. And so I started importing these sunshades for the front window of a car, and people started buying them. So that was my first company, and that led to doing more automotive accessories. And so I still have a business today that sells automotive related products, things like seat covers and lighting and cushions and little lithium battery packs that help jumpstart a car. So we sell those products to Costco. So Costco is in Europe and in the US, Walmart, Target, all of these big box retailers that are primarily in North America, but also some global customers. I also have another company that does LED lighting for homes and businesses. So again, things that are sold in Costco or Walmart.
So you're
or
a
Home
serial
Depot.
entrepreneur, really, before that word entrepreneur became cool and hip and fashionable.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what, again, that's why the burnout, that's why the traveling here, there, and everywhere. I mean, going to China for a dinner meeting and then flying back. I mean, just crazy stuff like that.
Wow.
But when I had the realization of kind of laying in that hospital bed at 51 going, what do I want the rest of my life to look like? There was a lot of like don't take this the wrong way. What I've done in my earlier part of my life and my career has been great, and it's provided a lot of opportunities for folks on our team and for all of the factories that we work with and all of our external partners and internal partners and shareholders and all of that. It's been great, and it's created an incredible life for myself and for my family. But I think you start having those thoughts about legacy, like what do I want? How do I want to be remembered? And do I want to be remembered as the guy that sold lights to Costco and that helped make my garage brighter? Or do I want to be the guy that maybe really was part of something much bigger that really made a difference? And that's what I see in what you guys do and the community that you've created around your cafes and your food products and like the lifestyle that you are living that life of really giving back to your community. And so I thought, how can I take the learnings from the previous 30 years of my career, but use it in a super positive way? And because of the love for juicing and smoothies and eating more plant focused in my life, I knew a lot of factories. I went to a lot of trade shows. I traveled all throughout Asia. So I had that ability to understand how products were made, manufactured, supply chain, all of those technical things that kind of can trip people up. And then by chance, because Leslie and I were wanting to develop a farm property on Vancouver Island, we were touring farms outside of New York City on Long Island, and ended up on this little island called Shelter Island at this beautiful manor estate and beautiful gardens that they had. And at the farm stand where they were selling the produce that they were growing on this farm, there was a little poster and it said, "Come meet Joe Cross. Tonight, one night only, he's going to be previewing his latest movie at the local library." So Leslie and I looked at each other. We have nothing going on tonight. Let's go. Let's go meet this guy, because we had loved his movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, right. And so we thought, let's go. Why wait? What? It's an hour and a half. What have we got to lose? He previewed his movie, The Kids Menu, talking about kids and kids nutrition and schools and things that schools are doing to help support healthy eating. And afterwards, he did a Q&A. And it was in that Q&A that kind of after everybody, then there were like 12 people there, and 6 of them were my family.
What a chance coincidence, because he's a dude, like he's just not a random person. He's in the juicing world. He's the godfather of, well, he's modernized juicing in many ways. You know, about a decade ago, he was the pinup boy for juicing.
Absolutely. And so after everyone had pretty much left, I gave him my card and I said, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I think there's an opportunity, and let's keep in touch.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 2016.
And had you had already had your coming to Jesus moment where you'd become type 1 diabetic and you were now Dan 2.0?
Correct. It was the year prior. So
Okay,
this
great.
is a year after that happened. And 2 days later, a day later, he emailed me. And I said to Leslie, you won't believe it, but the guy actually emailed me. Because this guy, like, he's like the guy.
Yeah,
the
he's
guy,
a dude.
right?
He's brilliant.
The dude. And I'm like, he actually emailed me. He wants to have a Zoom call. Okay, cool.
Right.
So a few days later, we had our first Zoom call, and the rest is history. You know, we spent a lot of time getting to know each other. We spent a lot of time talking about what could be and what this could become, and how to join forces. And so together with my business partner, and with Joe, we formed Nama. And again, we still didn't really know what it was going to look like, but we knew it was going to be something in juicing. And then we slowly started embarking on the product development. Like, what do we want a product to look like? How do we want it to perform? What are the attributes? What are the challenges that people are facing in the whole process of juicing? And how can we kind of address some of these pain points and make something that's better? And that has been a process and continues to be a process, you know, even to now, of how do we make our products even better? How do we address needs that our community is coming to us and saying, hey, it'd be great if you guys did this, or have you thought about that? Or what if we did this? You know, so a lot of our products come out of those conversations and that feedback that we get from our partners and from our community.
Wow. Because I remember back when Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead first came out, and it was probably about 15 years ago. I think in the movie, when Joe was going through the States, he had a Breville juicer, which he was using in the back of his car, which was a centrifugal juicer. So, like, to come from there to a Nama juicer, which is like, you know, you've got the hopper, the hands-free hopper, which is an absolute revelation. Like, maybe just talk through for people who are listening, like, because juicing, a couple of the biggest pain points are, number one, it's a pain to clean. It takes so much time. How have you dealt with these? Because these are huge. It takes so much time. I want to make juice, but
they're actually easy to clean.
But let's get Dan, tell us how he addressed it and how you've solved this problem.
So from the very beginning, we knew that the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle to juicing was time. It's time in prep, and it's time in cleaning. And as you described, the juicer, the wheatgrass juicer, you know, you're putting things in piece by piece, and you're pushing down, and you're trying to get it to process, and it's slow, and it's arduous, and it's
foamy,
pain in the butt. You know? So we thought, okay, how can we make this easier? Well, the way to make it easier was to basically create the infinite chute, so to speak, right? So instead of it being, 2 or 3 centimeters in diameter, how could we make it like 12 centimeters in diameter? And so that's what we've done with our J2 and also with our J3, the kind of self-feeding hopper. So you take like all of the ingredients that I told you that I put in this juice: 1 cucumber, 1 apple, 1 lemon, a bunch of ginger, some turmeric, and some parsley. I loaded it all in here. So it all fits inside.
So that's into the hands-free hopper, and then you just turn it on.
And then you do your push-ups. Then you go do your push-ups.
Or go do some weeding. Go do some weeding.
Go do some weeding. There you go, Mr. Flynn. Double jobbing.
Type A squared.
How about getting breakfast for your kids?
Or showering.
That's usually fun.
Or having a shower. You know, it's almost like automating your juice.
Yeah. 100%.
No, it allows, I mean, again, it's that whole time thing. Like, because I can load whole fruits and veg, literally my prep time for doing that was a bit of washing, a bit of unwrapping. I peeled half of the peel off the lemon because I love lemon peel. I didn't peel the whole thing. The prep time was probably 30 seconds, loaded everything in, turned it on, had a chat with Leslie for a few minutes, and then went back, poured the juice into the bottle, and came in to chat with you guys. But cleaning wise, again, that's another pain point, but having as few parts as possible, having them super accessible, and making it, the cleaning part, probably 2 minutes, easy to reassemble. I mean, again, it's once you do it the first time, it's all pretty straightforward. And yeah, we try in every way possible to make that whole thing as using as less time as possible and making it as easy to do as possible. And that's, again, aligning with our mission of eating more plants. It's let's spend more time. Let's spend less time in the process so that we have more time to focus on eating more plants.
I really think it's like, it's so important now in our current food system, where it's more industrialized, it's more processed, it's less nutrition. Like, juicing is the antithesis, particularly when you're using your juicer, where it's like a Namawell juicer, where it's slow revolutions, it's high quality, you can batch juice, and you can I just think it's so important for each of our own sense of energy and biology, because I think as a species our biology is degrading because of the inputs which we're giving to our bodies, and juicing it is the antithesis, because you are enhancing the electrical frequency within your body, you are ingesting like life, you are filling your body with life and vitality and enzymes and so much benefits, which is so different to what you said, Doritos and Cheetos and packaged goods that we can't understand the ingredients in the labels. Like, it's vitality, which is going to lead you on a different journey to processed factory-based things, which have their place, but not in terms of health and vitality.
Yeah, definitely. From a vitality perspective, there's no comparison. There's absolutely no comparison.
Yeah. I've got two final questions. Okay, one, we've got to talk about how has juicing transformed your life since 51?
And even as a type 1 diabetic, how do you manage to have juices? Like,
because
to have
people
a bit of apple in a juice, most people would be like,
but does fruit not trigger your blood sugars, Dan?
Fruit does trigger my blood sugar, but there's also, so people that have 99% of the population have a highly functioning pancreas. I don't. My pancreas doesn't produce insulin. So what does that mean? That means that every time I have anything that has any bit of sugar or glucose or could be converted to glucose, I need to inject myself with a needle of insulin. So because my pancreas doesn't produce that insulin, I have to exogenously, I have to add it externally from the external into my body with a needle. Okay. If I eat an apple or if I juice an apple, I'm consuming the same amount of sugar. But when I eat an apple, it has the insoluble fiber, which is the bits that come out in the pulp, to buffer the rate at which that sugar from that apple enters my bloodstream. When I look at my continuous glucose monitor, that sugar level will be achieved whether I eat an apple or I juice. That'll end up being the same. But when I juice the apple, it happens faster.
Yeah.
So one way or the other, I have to inject myself with insulin, whether I eat the apple or I juice the apple. But by juicing the apple, as we talked about, I'm giving my gut a break, because it's not having to work with all of that fiber. It's able to just take it this way. And that's really the difference for me. And is it better for me to eat an apple and have to inject insulin than not to have eaten the apple or juice the apple? I would say absolutely eat the apple, drink the apple juice, because it's life. We all need energy, and it's the most pure way of getting it, I think.
And has your health transformed hugely since kind of really feasting on juice?
How old do you think I am? How old do I look?
You look pretty
47
vibrant.
or something?
You guys.
But I know the fact that you got a grandkid that you're unlikely to be 47, but you do look very well.
Thank you. You're very kind. I don't look as young as you guys, because you guys are living an incredible lifestyle. I want to hear about your morning swims.
Yeah, we swim every
How
day.
long have you been doing that for? Oh my gosh.
About a decade.
That's amazing. I'm jealous.
Even this morning,
I'm
but you gotta, like, as a type 1, you gotta get up early. Like, I'm up at 4:45 to be down on the beach for 5:07 today it was, and it was raining, and there was Sean there, another type A, and we had a nice old chat, and we had a little dip, and then we went up. What did we do? We did some press ups, and we did some coffee.
We all did 100 press ups while Fia the baby was running around, and then we had coffee, and it was, that was all
Good
before
chats.
6:15 or something.
Yeah, that was
6:15. I went home to make juice and smoothie for my kids before school.
You guys are champions.
But in bed at 9 o'clock or 10. Well, 10 by the time I can wrestle.
Yeah, you would have to be. You would have to be in bed so early.
Yeah, it's just part of
Okay. Final question I'd love to talk to you, Dan, is what kind of impact? Because as you said, like, you have had 30 years experience with your light business and your car accessories business, and those have had a very positive impact to the stakeholders and finances and whatnot. But your idea with Nama is to really have a positive impact on people's health, on society at large, and get people to eat more veg. So can you talk about some of the impact you've had since you started it 7 years ago?
Well, the impact that we've had is that through the juicers that we've sold already in our history, there are literally millions of folks who are consuming juice from a Nama juicer today that there weren't previously. So are these folks new to juicing? Probably a lot of them are. Are they juicing more than they maybe were with their old juicer that was hard to juice, or that had a lot of the pain points? Again, the reason why we do everything that we do is we want the juicer to be on your counter every day. We want it to be there next to the kettle, next to the toaster, and those appliances that get used every day. A juicer, whether it's a Nama juicer or any other brand of juicer, is of no value if it's sitting in a cupboard and it's not being used. So by making a beautiful product, by offering our community inspiring recipes and great content and great information and education, by working with great ambassadors around the world who are talking about the benefits of juicing and sharing also their knowledge and recipes, etc., with their communities. We hope that folks who have a Nama juicer will use it every day or multiple times a day and juice for their families, for their children, for their parents, for a sick relative, or for their partners. And in that way, the halo effects that gets created by all of these people around the world who have bought a Nama juicer and who are using it regularly and who are producing this lovely, vitalizing juice on a regular basis. Everyone, you can't, like as we said earlier, you can't not feel good drinking juice. So hopefully you're a better mom, you're a better dad, you're a better boss, you're a better student, you're a better grandfather, you're just better because of eating more plants. And that's the legacy that we want Nama to be. And that's long after I'm gone. Hopefully the company is still delivering on that mission of making it easier, more affordable, less challenging to consume more plants, because it's all in our best interest to eat more plants. And so that's what we're just about helping people along that journey of eating more plants.
The mission is the mission is so broad that it can go in so many different ways. Like obviously now it's juicers and appliances, but it can, like, that's such a broad mission that it can go in a million different tangents. And Stephen wants to build on
No,
it.
I just wanted to commend you on two things that I think are wonderful. I think now in an age where built-in obsolescence is rampant in most appliances, I really commend you on giving a 15-year warranty on the juicers. And the other one I want to commend you on is the unboxing experience. I don't think I've ever opened a product and went, "Ooh, this is beautiful. I really like this."
The fonts,
wow.
the fonts.
I feel really good about myself. And it's just beautiful, really high end, really beautiful
Detail.
Well, thank you. I think we've all been spoiled by this company called Apple, by that whole unboxing experience and the whole notion of creating an emotional attachment with a product. And part of that emotional attachment comes from that unboxing. It's like, we all remember, as very young children, running out to the Christmas tree on Christmas morning and, seeing what Santa delivered for us, or, whatever your cultural experiences are around gifts and receiving gifts. And so for us, how a product is received is the first step of creating that attachment to wanting to use it. So if you're unboxing it and you're feeling like, wow, this thing is really amazing, and that the way that I take it out of this bamboo bag and all the packaging materials and the recipe book, it's also beautiful, it's also inspiring. Well, gosh darn it, that's the best opportunity then. And that's the first way to get someone to put it on their counter and actually, while they're unboxing it, use it for the first time and see how easy it is. And then you're hooked. So it's a little bit of psychology in that process of creating this beautiful unboxing experience to really have that be the first key. It's like that first impression, it's like
it's the first
the
date.
first time you meet the girl,
the first day. Yeah, exactly,
or the first time you meet your business partner, or it's that first impression, it's that blink. And it's so important. And that's why we obsess about what the box looks like, what the outside of the box looks like when it's sitting on your doorstep, and then how all of the materials are built, and the quick start guide, and the recipe book, and the inner boxes, and all of it. We spend months and months and months of obsession about all of those little details, so that someone feels truly special when they open that box and they unbox their juicer for the first time.
Yeah, like simple little things like the start here. And like that quick juicing guide is really useful, because I remember unboxing my one, and then immediately you were figuring out how to put it together, and it says start here, and it's like, okay, great, I just start here. I don't need to get distracted with a recipe book. And it was very clear, and mine does live beside my toaster and the kettle, so it's yeah, you were describing my kitchen. And one thing I wanted to tell you is, which I've really got into, because as you made a juice with cucumber and parsley and turmeric and ginger, but what I've got really into is like within the environment which I live in, there's so much wild plants around. And I walk, like I've got a young baby at the moment, she's 9 months old. So I'm spending lots of time walking around my neighborhood in the buggy. And I've started harvesting lots of nettles, lots of plantain, lots of chickweed, lots of cleaver, dandelion, and juicing them. Like, 'cause it's just amazing. There's so much of these free, nutrient rich, what we call weeds, but like nutrient-rich plants that have incredible juice within them, and they're so resilient. They're so full of secondary metabolites that are like, they just electrical frequency. These are strong, tough plants. These aren't monoculture yuppie plants. These are like tough fighter plants that have grown through the pavement, and I'm juicing them and giving it to my daughter in the morning, and like she's drinking nettle and dandelion juice, so she is fit for the day. Like, it's wonderful. It's like it's really exciting.
The passion coming out of you is great.
We went to Greece there last week, and I spent hours walking around the streets, identifying what can we juice, what can we eat, like where's the wild foods that I can put.
The extent of what we could find was sage. We
found sage, and we found different types of mint, and we found thyme, but I found so many different other types of plants, which I was just understanding what we could juice and what we couldn't juice, because I think there's so much free plants around us, and people might go, oh, well, a juicer uses so much, like I have to buy so much produce, but like there's so much wild stuff in your neighborhood that is free, that is packed full of juice.
And they're normally labeled as weeds.
Yeah.
Oh, totally, totally. I mean, I love dandelion. We have around our farm. We have so many dandelions. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. And you can't kill that stuff. I mean, even if you were the kind of person to use chemicals, even those don't kill it. That's how strong those plants are.
And
They're
you,
amazing.
you know from weeding, like I was pulling dandelions at the weekend there, and the tap root on a dandelion, it goes so deep, so it extracts so many minerals, so many vitamins. Like it's so packed with minerals. It's a decompactor. So by like juicing those weeds, it's just it makes me excited.
Dan, I know you got a rugby match. You've your son and daughter playing rugby, so we don't want to keep you going because Dave's lit up here, and I know that feeling when you don't want to let your children down. My son had a play today, and I was like, I am not being late for that.
We could talk for a long time, guys. I really enjoyed our conversation, and
likewise.
Your enthusiasm and your zest for life is infectious, and I love what the Happy Pair is all about. And I hope to have an opportunity to meet you in person.
Come hang out. Absolutely.
I can't wait. I really look forward to that.
Yeah, very much so. Dan,
we'll all drink bottled lightning together.
Woo! That sounds great.
Looking forward to it. I want to try some of your kombucha. I want to learn. I really want to make it, and I know it's not difficult to make. And I've embarked on it a few times, but I would really love to do that. And I know I have a ton of elderberry growing in the orchard, and I noticed on your social media.
Yeah, me and Ned, me and my 7-year-old, we were making elderflower kombucha. We did a second ferment last night, and I had a good glug of it before I came out. It was delicious, really delicious, and so easy.
So easy, yeah. We make an elderberry elixir from the berries, and with that kind of keeps us going all winter, but keeps the colds and flus away for sure. But I want to do something with the flower, and I haven't yet.
Oh, there you go.
So much fun. Brilliant. Well, this has been glorious, Dan. I've really, really enjoyed getting to spend more time with you. So thank you.
And love your work, and you're a gorgeous human.
And your mission. We're with you. We are with you.
Yeah, 100% with you.
Let's help the world eat more plants.
Yeah, exactly. And drink more bottled lightning.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a million, Dan, and best of luck to your son and daughter in the rugby. Hope they nail it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a million, Dan. Cheers.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks a million. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
While we have you, once a week we write a newsletter. It's called Happier. It's got simple, tried and tested practices to make your life better. We include recipes and practices that you can apply on a daily basis to make your life happier. We've had lots of people say before that it's really helped make their life better. So you can sign up on the happypair.ie, our weekly newsletter called Happier.